How's everybody doing today? I must say, y'all look beautiful today. Remember that? So yeah, I might be doing the most of the video in my accent on Street Boy Chronicles. So we know now a lot about biblical stuff. Now we're gonna talk about more in this episode, more about the mental health side of your life as it pertains to the reality that you're living in. So your mind is your controller, or we can go to the reticular activating system, the RAS. So that's something that it goes out. It creates a thought wave, thought pattern, out there. So we know now that in your life today you have a personality, you have the ego, super ego, whether it or the shadow, whatever. That is like those three are like perspectives of yourself. You're looking at your higher aspect is now your mind is your mind, but on like steroids. I didn't want to use that word, but steroids is like enhancement drugs. Now I wouldn't recommend don't really take steroids unless it's antibiotic. Trying to relieve some swells and things like that. But people use that to enhance their mental self. But your best self is where most of the things are for you. Your best self. But you're looking now at a lower aspect of your mind. That's the unconscious parts. Those are the things that you keep hidden. From childhood, you have the traumas, a lot of other things in there, even the things where you just misunderstood those areas. You're just sweeping things under the rug. Sweep a lot of those things under the rug subconsciously now. It's going to come to the surface in your reality. So that's some of those things where you're looking at. That's how the mind works, and it's very, very scary of a thing. But you just pray about it. And what prayer does, it just really helps calm your mind. Most of the time, you just need your mind calmed down because the Father already knows what you want before you even ask Him. Doesn't mean you shouldn't pray, because now you're gonna pray the Lord's Prayer. Of course, we know. For most of us, I'd say it's not even about your life. It's about the things that were put into your life from generations. A lot of the stress, a lot of the mental health issues in these days now, they seep into where where you want to be. You want to be, in a certain place. You want to have a certain level of character, things like that. But the mental health aspects are not a crutch. They're just something that you don't even have to deal with. It's not your fault. None of it is your fault. For the most part, it's you becoming something from the caterpillar to the butterfly. You're not gonna necessarily outgrow a mental health issue, but what will happen is you're gonna understand other people's issues a little bit better. Because if you have some things like bipolar, OCD, those other things, schizophrenia, those are like serious, but they're very common to some people. They sort of affect the way you see around other people. A lot of other things like paranoia, things of that nature, they're going to be a very serious thing for the future. And some of you, I know some problems you might have. You might say, how does he know I have those problems, or you have those problems? But it's just something about, you connect, you understand energies, your thought patterns. Don't confuse the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions. It's easy to get those three things mixed up, confusing the thoughts with the feelings, confusing the feelings with the emotions, and then acting on those thoughts, feelings, and emotions which are misplaced in those senses. So that is the time we're living in. Is that even in the way you read certain things, dogs down there. Some of those things are allegorical. Some of those things are metaphorical. But mentally, people have lost their minds in some regions of places. That a lot of this stuff, again, I can't really say all of it was metaphorical, but I will say this: these aspects are just to push. Some of them, again, were fear tactics. Some of them, talking about biblical stuff, as we look at it, things like the Apocalypse of Peter, you never saw that, but there's some brutal stuff that putting inside these books, these written books. It's just worse than a lot of other stuff. But the idea was, you get a fear tactic, you get people afraid, all that stuff. But all that stuff now, you have to look at people's psychological aspects. What is the psychological aspects of your mind? What are you going through right now? Social media, all that stuff is just expelling all that stuff from your thought patterns to your feelings to your emotions, and you're reacting too quickly. Be slow to anger, be slow to speak, all those things. Because what's going to happen is, see some wrong thing, you might mess up your future. Now, of course, for myself, really, I'm gonna take some things back from last year, but for the most part, even now, you're saying that you're being called into a greater spectrum of life. The psychological spectrums, all that stuff is really difficult to really understand. And again, it's not your fault. It's the way people understand you. So that's why we all need to be a little bit compassionate to each other. It might seem like, oh, someone's personality is messed up. Someone has a different, psychological. Or someone's just evil or mean or whatever, blah blah blah. But also in some cases, I know that you're dealing with some mental health issues, and that's why I'm a little bit more patient with a lot of people. If I snap back, of course, in a biblical sense, some of it gets mixed up. So you want to respect the word, you want to respect God, but I want to say, respecting each other, it requires a lot of patience. There's some things I said to some people even last week, so that's why y'all know. So this is just to say, like, as for this journey, this path you go on, your mind might not be 100%, and people aren't going to understand you. Some people have the empathic tendency, some people have the narcissistic tendency. So that balance of your relationships, you want to actually have the understanding of who you are in that relationship. The empath of the narcissist, or the empath acts like a narcissist, or you're the narcissist that acts like an empath. Some of y'all, again, are straight up empaths. Y'all feel things you don't even know why, and other people don't feel a thing, but we act like we care. But the point is, now, for the actual empath who's feeling, they'll feel misunderstood because they want everyone to feel how they feel like, but the world doesn't work that way. No one's gonna feel like how I feel like, how you feel like, but for those two people, they might really understand what's really going on. So a white dog and a black dog fighting each other. Okay, so anyway, that little duality there, that we're gonna talk about. It's very interesting. Wow, they're really fighting. Like, I think it's this food. Hey guys, don't fight. I might have to give them some chicken after this. They're really fighting. Chill out. I don't even know if they're playing anymore. So overall, be a peacemaker, things like that. I saw some things last night. I mean, if you posted anything you might regret, of course. Like, it's all right. I understand your mental health's going on. Again, we'll feel attacked because a lot of it's in the air. We got 5G. We got a lot of things being transmitted into our brains. So a lot of things you got to get used to. But the same stress, really, than it's been the past thousands of years. So less structure, less order. But if you order your mind, your internal self, you're going to actually see these changes out there. That mental strength. He's digging a hole right now. I'm going to show that someone else's dogs. But anyways, I want y'all to understand something. In our society today, all this reality, for our women, you don't have to feel like you have to flaunt your beauty out there in your face, all that stuff like that, this and that with for a man. No. You have independence, you have the control, you have these other things like that. Businesses you want to create, all these other things, these other ideas. Don't be afraid to make them. Don't be afraid to feel like you don't fit in or things like that, because no one really fits in. You have to fit into your own world, your own head. And I understand personally that for some of y'all, it's not even a matter of what you haven't been able to do. It's a matter of just not being willing to do it. And that's okay. We all get that, but one step in the right direction, one step of momentum is going to carry you forward. And that's where you find the Beyonce and Jay Z's. That's where you find the Barack Obamas and Michelle Obamas. That's where you find the game changers, because they are willing to not sacrifice, but they're willing to grow together. If you're willing to grow, then you'll change. Sometimes no one's gonna understand you. You have a lot of mental health things. Again, therapy is gonna be helpful. I'm make these videos more about the therapy versions, because even the mental health aspects of what I was saying these past couple of years. I mean, when Jesus says let the dead bury the dead, I can't say that to you. I mean, some of you are losing family members. Like there are some things that I can't say that he said, but I accept them because I know he's formed his kingdom up there. You know what I'm saying? Not down here. But a lot of people down here, they need to figure out why, and they need to understand the idea of why they're here, about the builders, about what the builders refused, about the stone, the cornerstone, about you falling on the cornerstone falling on you. Not to quote scripture, not just to quote scripture, but to understand it. With all that getting understanding, you might say, don't lean onto your own understanding. But with all that getting understanding, that's far more important. You go through life without understanding, you're going to end up doing things to people who don't deserve it. So understand, with all that getting understanding this. All right, completely went out of character. Understand this. With all that getting understanding, the fact that you're here for a reason. Tap into whatever is in here, because you have something of meaning in here. This is what I love inside your mind. Your minds are beautiful. You have beautiful minds. I don't know if you watched the movie Beautiful Mind. I think it was Gerard Butler. Nah, maybe I'm right. But Russell Crowe, I believe. Russell Crowe, Beautiful Mind. But I also have an uncle who's it's a very similar story. But that mind is very powerful. You know, everything can go all hell rise around you, but that mind, God forbid, of course, but that mind, it can overcome all that stuff in reality. But you got to keep your mind strong, because some of y'all are torturing yourselves within yourselves, playing mind games with yourselves to test yourselves with yourselves. Basically, I mean, you know somebody's you, but you're playing the game because you feel like you don't have something that you already have. So that's the psychology. What you want to get to is the fact that at a certain level, you're testing yourself for no reason. You're testing other people for no reason around you, expecting them to love you as a difficult being, but you have to love yourself casually, like just chill, because there's a level where the anger, the emotions you put out there is like a chain reaction. I can't post some of the things that you might post on your pages or whatever, because there's a chain reaction. There's a different vibe. Watch that vibe, all that other stuff, because it's that energy. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. So how do you think of yourself? Who are you in your thoughts? If you're, you're not gonna be wise in your own eyes some cases, but you see yourself covered by God. If you do that, then I know who you are, and I know you're children of the Most High God. And that's all that really matters. But even the ones that aren't, you don't have to make them understand it, because there's a lot of psychological things. Again, I'm going to cover. We're going to review the Just for Stakeout book, because it's a lot of the things that I've talked about are in that book. Fourth book's coming out in February. But overall, that's the mindset you'll have. You have a different mindset in your mind. So that's going to be a different change for some of you. So don't be afraid to reach out, to communicate to people, because I know you need help. I mean, in some cases you need the therapy, you need the help, and I love y'all regardless. I think it's just like, I understand, because you get inside someone's head, you get inside someone's head, you get inside your own head. That mind, these fears, these lobes, that's the next level of the way you can maintain the kingdom. He gave you not a spirit of fear, But what of power, love, and a sound mind? A sound mind says, I know my God is in control of these situations. You're gonna learn about what great I am consists of. The great I am, setting the captives free. Moses setting the captives free. So don't get caught up in the nihilism of this existence. Don't get caught up in the, the negativity. Get positive again. Again, for some stretches of the word, like I said, we're not very positive, but internally, you had that other level of consciousness inside of you. So do not fear, do not be afraid. All right. Anyways, I'll see y'all. I'll see y'all later. All right. Peace. I just snapped out. Do not fear, do not be afraid. Again, a lot of surprises coming in February. Wait on it. Peace.